Did that work? I think it worked. All right. Hopefully that didn't mess you all up. All right. Let me turn the music off.
Frosty Tools
Random DJ
said, benefactors keep the lights on at Frosty Tools.
All right, I'm going to get the server, plug in my controller. Give me 1 second.
Get great perks and help support the tools. Become a benefactor at velvethammer56frostytools.com/dashboard.
Help if I did not have the caps lock key.
Stream Elements said, Velvet Hammer 56 is now live. Streaming Chivalry 2, Sunday Night Showdown. Middleweight Bout, 20v20, to battle between Ck and ONI at 8:30 EST.
All right, I think we're in. I think we are in. We overcame the invalid join data. Scoreboard here. All right, so let's take a look. So tonight we have a interesting matchup. Should be around 20v20. Looks like there's 44 players in the server. CK, the Shiv Cartel, who unfortunately, due to some Discord miscommunication, I missed the time for the CK EQ matchup on Friday, Battle of the Heavyweights. So that ended up going 3-1 EQ's favor, but it was a very competitive match. So on the heels of that, we're going to see a slightly smaller matchup tonight between CK and ONI, which I don't know what ONI stands for. I think their vibe is a bit like Japanese samurai. I think from what I heard, ONI was started by a few members of the BE clan that broke away and started their own team. So it's interesting that they're going to have a combination of experienced members and maybe newer members to the competitive scene Looks like we're already jumping right in it. We're going to thank the Sunday Night Showdown band. Oni is going to start on defense. But first,
ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. And now, it's time!
thank you, Bruce Buffer. It is indeed time yet again. The crowd is hyped. We are going to switch to spectate now. As we take a look at the starting lineups, CK with looks like maybe 23 players, Oni with 22, but Ho Chi Minh, I believe, still needs to get. I don't know if they're going to sort things out here, but yeah, looks like we're going to run 21v21 or 22v22, but on we go. We're going to see maybe a slightly different strategy tonight than when some of the larger matches when you're playing 20v20. There's a bit more emphasis on the team battles and then the interim before that. I think already off the bat we're seeing Oni, rather than drop back to defend the catapult, immediately taking the fight to CK on the left side battering ram. They've won the initial fight. But now the right side battering ram with some of the reinforcements, perhaps majority of the Oni defense on the left side, the right side now starting to move. It looks as though Oni doing a good job keeping the right side catapult down with that far side catapult. You see some of the foot soldiers for Oni now entering the objective area for the battering ram, slowing it down a little bit. 1v1 here. I'm not sure who that was. That's CK Revenge. Manages to defeat Running Ones. Now taking on two Oni defenders. A little bit tougher battle. Holding his own so far. Fortunately, despite landing some hits, does eventually fall. Oni slows down the right battering ram temporarily, but now as you can see the left side approaching the catapult. So very interesting that this, unlike larger battles where you see an emphasis defending this catapult, we've seen Oni right away very confident with their melee skills. I'll say CK. Well, there's looks like they're both sides taking damage, but CK now looks like they may have. Yes, they may have now busted through the defense on the left side. They have reached the catapult, and now the battering ram is past the catapult. We're going to see a majority of the Oni clan now setting up near this ladder cart. Very interesting. The front now primarily on the right side. This is creating a lot of room for this next wave of CK to escort the objective. Now the live battering ram all the way. You can see Ratman and Big Old Jar of Dirt. I think Big Old Jar of Dirt may have been another BE member as well. So CK continuing to add experienced members to their roster. Oni now, with a reinforcement wave, has managed to slow down the battering ram, but with 5:44 left in the first phase, CK now has rallied and... Gotta get the drone is a little bit wacky today with the speed here. So CK manages to bring the objective home now. Oni, I think, in their battle lust to engage CK, may have lost their eye on the objective temporarily. Oops. Get this going here. So you see here CK opting to just control the area by the battering ram. prepared to take on the reinforcement wave. Quintero and Ratman working the battering ram, doing damage to that gate. Here comes another reinforcement wave from Oni. They crash along now the front of CK. You can say they rotated from the left to the right. No one is currently on the battering ram. Nice Firepot had to move, but now I think with some space here, it may just be a matter of time. Well, good job. The catapult does not seem to be in action. In fact, it's just now been rebuilt. So we are probably going to see a boulder crash through the gate for that final shot here shortly. There it is loaded. Needs to get loaded a little bit more. Okay, yep. Nice shot then by DC. This should be what they need to advance to the next phase. We are now on to the town square. CK in firm control of the tactics here. Oni definitely feeling confident in their skills. We're going to take a look at the kills. Double, though, right now for CK. So Oni may want to see what their strategy should be here. We're going to see, do they control the ammo and bandage box, rather? Or are they going to aggressively push something else? So we're going to see as we follow a handful of CK attackers who are advancing on the left causeway. Lots of plague doctors in the house today, so CK perhaps coordinating in some fashion. Executioner axes. Plague doctors with executioner axes look pretty tough. Here's another wave of knights rocking that beetle armor. Now they, CK did win that sort of battle there, but not making, not advancing into the town square yet. Oni continues to engage in groups, holding their own. Creams, though, gets caught in a 2v1. Here comes Grim Reaper. So nice job by Oni taking out some of the attackers as they get through. So CK has of yet unable to get enough attackers on the objective. Biding their time, though. We've seen this before by CK when they sort of hover around the middle avenue here, waiting for their chance to push into the zone. We're going to follow here. Gosh darn it, this stupid camera is definitely... Oh, maybe because I'm hitting the wrong button. Okay, so we follow that flank maneuver by the Plague Doctor squad. Oni, though, picks it up nicely as the flank enters the zone. What is going on? This will not slow down. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. CK Michael now entering. You can see some Guardians putting some banners down. Big old jar of dirt switching from Engineer to Guardian. Interesting that they're using the medium shields, though. Perhaps opting for a little bit more speed.
Said, hello.
Greetings, welcome in. Welcome into round one of CK versus ONI. Oni, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Good battle, though. After a strong start by CK with 5.5. You see Oni now holding their own at the town square. CK had some folks advance into the town square, but were pushed back. But you can see with this reinforcement wave, once again, they are pushing into the zone. Looks like the focal point may be that critical ammo box. Mason's taking hold of the town square with the numbers. We don't know how much it looked pretty even for a while, but now this wave of red as the clock turns to 5 minutes, the critical time when the reinforcement wave for the Agathian switches to the bridge side. You can see there was a Mason trying to slow down that wave, but CK now advancing to the edge of the town square, trying to hold back this reinforcement wave, keep them fighting off of the objective while they themselves maintain numerical superiority. Yep, there we are. So I think this is a successful push. Oni doing a good job the first 3 minutes there on that objective, keeping CK off. They may still... No, it looks as though even though they have reinforcements, you can see CK Revenge, Deway's... I think that's a new member, maybe. Nil Dane, one of the veterans for CK. Sun God back in action today. So you can see that those Warriors very good at staying alive, biding time. So that squad buying some space for CK and really preventing Oni from getting back into the town square. So once CK took hold, they did not let go. This is something we have seen in the past, so very, very nice job. Didn't panic. We saw them sort of hover in that middle area. That seems to work. Perhaps waiting for that critical 5-minute point. But whatever their tactics, it worked. They worked, rather, and we are now on to the bridge. CK feeling a bit more confident as they've already pushed to the choke point between the ladder cart and the what do you call it? Not the guillotine. What do you call this? Whatever, where people get hanged. Now, interesting, no engineer play from either team. Looked as though perhaps with the smaller numbers, Oni did not want to divert any of their firepower to the engineering class. I think this might be an area where it does create some challenges for them, though, just because it's a little bit tough to stop the wave there. It's easy for CK to group up, and that's something that when they are able to group up, they fight very well in these XVX situations. Oni, I'll give them, they're very brave, though. I'll give them that, and they're fighting for every inch that they give up. It looks as though someone is now given the order on the Oni side to fall back to the banners. So they tried to delay as long as they could on the bridge. We're going to see, does the lack of engineer play come into play, or does that actually create more room for them to use their melee to try to hold the point? Does not look like they're committing to either side. As CK enters the courtyard, they looks like they're grouping up and they're pushing the staircase side, trying to overwhelm this banner side while the middle has been taken. I think that was Michael who now rotates over. CK with a little momentum. 2 of the banners down. You can see Oni only with about 5 defenders maybe on this banner. So we're going to see, can they get more people in play? Looks as though Ikagi is thinking whether it's worth it. Guarding the steps. Nope, probably wasn't. But now with 5 minutes left, Oni is really going to have to decide which side they're going to try to grab hold of and see, can they hold back CK's push as long as possible. Who's this here? Normal, CK Normal, one of the plague doctors, able to flank around, creating space for Michael. Michael seems to be very focused on the objective tonight, as now CK has advanced past the trebuchet. We're going to see, wow, look at all the kills on the kill feed. So CK on a roll right now, wipes the left side. I think the right side might already be ready to explode. Oni flooding in, maybe trying to get a lucky defuse. Nice try by Slashing Tires. Tries to create space. You saw another ONI member trying to get that diffusion, but just not able to do it soon enough. So both of the first trebuchets destroyed. ONI having their work cut out for them here. They're going to have to see if they can't take advantage of being a little bit closer from the respawn perspective and win some of these team battles here on the right side trebuchet. I think they are conceding the left side, which is probably a good strategy. It's going to be a lot easier to hold one side than splitting your forces and seemingly holding neither. So we're going to see if this pays off. I actually wonder what the better strategy is. But CK now advancing into the lower courtyard. The other trebuchet destroyed, so ONI not able to muster enough troops to slow down the push. CK momentum in full swing here as they have advanced and lit the final objective and are pushing all the way up to ONI's spawn path. I don't think anyone's going to sneak through. You can see a good try by Big Daddy Gibb. Maybe trying to sneak by on that wall, but CK sees him. Even someone goes flying down into the sea below. But strong performance by CK. Line Spire, I think maybe the map we've seen them play more than anything else. 1-0 CK. We're going to switch sides here. We're going to see what can ONI do on offense. 410 to 181. That snowball really started. Dog. Is Dog Randy? I don't know if Dog is Randy or not, but leading the way with Coco and MJ Holy Armor. Smile Bob, Dame of Dark Marrow, and What Happened? Leading the way for Oni. Oh, looks maybe are we switching maps? Or did we just not set to? We will find out here in 1 second. Oops. And I think the boxing bell guy fell asleep. Oh, there he is. There he is. So it looks as though maybe they're just going to play Roothelm instead of switching sides. CK will be playing the defensive side for Mason. I'm sorry, the defensive side of Mason. Teams sorting themselves out here. So maybe both teams just rolling with it. I'm not sure. Maybe the server was set up for 1 round of each instead of 2. So we will find out shortly here. But looks as though the teams are going to play. So we're going to just assume that this is the next map. Sun God, even as Archer, formidable with that Messer. Slashing tires, momentarily knocked down by a tackle, but now moving in to the siege tower, challenging Mad K and Dog, who eventually go down, overwhelmed by ONI superior numbers. You can see CK now grouping up in the middle, perhaps thinning out some of the attackers, and then they're going to decide which way to rotate. A battle raging here in the gap between the siege towers by one of the ammo crates.
Said, thank you for following Big Dog 32087, smiley face.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't see like who's typing. So Typer, welcome in. Decipher, welcome in. Thank you for the follow, Big Dog. So CK now rotating over to the other siege tower. Looks like there's some sort of limit in play, but I think team's working it out. So maybe some of the server settings maybe need to be a little adjusted, but for now, both teams on the same footing, so they will figure it out. Nice fighting by CK. Just really slowing down the push now on this close side siege tower. We're going to rotate over to the other side where it looks as though Masons continue to take the focus from the attackers away from the objective. You can see a lot of the Agathians fighting for their lives here. So it looks as though CK may have broken into two groups or maybe three, with a third group kind of rotating. This Plague Doctor squad running in with those Executioner axes really been deadly in round one. So we'll follow them for a second here as they rotate back. It's like the majority of the ONI team on the left side. They're going to try to get some sort of momentum on the siege towers. Here comes CK trying to collapse and encircle the Agathians who have made it on the siege tower. We're going to see how much... No, I was going to see, will ONI have a reinforcement wave to sort of catch these Masons in the middle? It looks as though that reinforcement wave instead went to the right side, and there is a little bit of momentum now on the far side siege tower as the Masons control this side. A couple of Agathians still fighting. Smile Bob and is that Slashing Tires? And a 2-on-1 with Nildane. Nildane, nice riposts. Able to hold his own, the 2-on-1. Eventually he's taken out by Ponk, who's now in a 1-on-1 with Dante. Takes out Dante, but has... Oh, then Insane Jester. So Oni Ponk now single-handedly keeping his team objective alive, buying some time for some reinforcements. Excellent play with that heavy mace. Michael trying to come in there as the Guardian with that Warhammer, immediately in a 1v3, now 1v2, stays alive long enough for Immense and Nildane to come in to help. More CK now. Plonk continues to stay alive, though, as he heals. Somehow avoids the fire pot. So Ponk doing what he can to keep his team's chances alive. You can see with 322, still quite a ways for the siege tower to travel. So ONI going to have to get some momentum. Plonk still alive, holding the line with the big heavy one, Big Daddy. MJ Holy Armor taken down. Insane Jester Michael trying to get into the siege tower, but Oni doing a great job Staying alive now. You can see more and more of the CK defenders come in. Nice catapult shot by the Dame of Dark Marrow, taking out that right side defensive reinforcement wave. This is exactly what Oni needed. Some momentum here. CK with a couple of reinforcements that trickle in from the wall. I don't think, though, they're going to have enough. This should be, yep, excellent job by Oni locking in there. Immediately, you can see the ladder put up by Big Daddy Gibb, trying to create a little bit of a flank in a 1v1 with OG. What is that? Yeah. I don't even know how to say that. Roomba? Yeah, Roomba? Yeah, Zumba? Yeah, 300 ba. Anyway, CK, though, this is going to be a tough objective for Oni. We've seen CK hold the gatehouse. They have not only good strategy, but they know how to fight as a team. We're going to see as we rotate to the siege tower that has arrived first. Firepots trying to clear some space here, but CK just falling on this offensive wave, not able to get a foothold on the ramparts here. We're going to see how long. I think by this time, the other siege tower is probably at the wall. So Oni will have a couple of options, but right now, just CK having a lot of success fighting as a team.
Hello.
Welcome in, Maddie. This is round 2 of CK versus ONI. CK won round 1 Line Spire, and now are playing defense on Rudehelm. Rotating over to the other side, Insane Jester with that one-handed spear, doing a good job. So both sides, you can see a lot of the action now on this left side gatehouse. Is that a real catapult? Is that a fake one? CK, though, just making these attackers pay. You can see Oni having a hard time disembarking from the siege towers. They're going to have to probably group up. We're going to rotate over to the right side. We'll see how many of these attackers can stay alive. So making it onto the battlements, but just immediately at a numerical disadvantage. You can see just a whirlwind of CK members as they rotate. You know, you have to be able to look. I mean, this poor person, I don't know who that was, but just taking shots from all sides. Ladders, a good way to get some attackers on the objective, but maybe timed a little bit better with the siege tower would be more effective. We're going to follow Chonky Boy 69, who is behind the pack of attackers. A little bit of momentum here. We're going to see, can they stay alive as they enter the zone? Nice kill by Chonky Boy with that Warhammer. Decides to throw down. Wait, I thought he was going to throw down a banner. Instead, throws down a banner at the base of the stairs. You can see these Plague Doctors with those execution racks, though, just doing a lot of damage. CK normal, staying alive. So despite a slight gain in the progress bar by Oni, CK continues to clear out the objective, now with a banner down on the upper floor. Commodore J doing his best to stay alive long enough for reinforcements to arrive, but as I mentioned, this is a tough objective. Usually this is the hardest objective for the offense when faced with a very organized defense like CK. ONI now, instead of grouping up, looking like they're sending reinforcement waves on both sides, just desperate to get people in the objective. 2 minutes left. Plenty of time, but CK continuing to win the fight here in the areas right after the offense is disembarking from the siege towers. So nice mix. You can see it's a nice mix of Knights and Vanguard players. Speedy weapons like Danaxes. Long weapons like Executioner Axes, Great Swords. A little bit of momentum here for Oni as they now are pushing in to the gatehouse. MJ Holy Armor and Sun God battling Ho Chi Minh and Chonky Boy, I believe. Now, despite CK winning that side, it looks as though Oni have temporarily taken over the objective as they are controlling that right side upstairs, but now believe CK realizing and rotating more warriors back on the objective. Still a lot of Agathians on the point. They're going to have to win this fight. This is probably their last chance to clear out the defense. Although CK, you can see a perfect example there of how that 3v3 is now turning to the Mason advantage. Nice job by CK, once again holding the gatehouse on defense. Round 2 in the books. CK 2, ONI 0. We're going to see now, I assume they're going to run it back, but we're going to see how the server's configured. Get your snacks, get your drinks. It's halftime on Sunday Night Showdown.
Stream Elements said. Zamboni416 just subscribed for 27 months in a
Zamboni,
row.
thank you for the sub. Let's see what Velvet has to say about it here in just a second.
Zamboni416 said. Some Bezos bucks
Thank
to
you,
buy
sir.
some 40k figs.
I gotta get rid of my great pile of shame though before I buy any more, but thank you. So maybe some of the ONI members leaving a little early, maybe not realizing that you are supposed to switch sides. I do think CK said they are going to fill out the teams so that we will continue to battle. But quite a performance in rounds 1 and 2 by CK. Definitely, I think the advantage, was Less tactics. I just think in the war of attrition, CK just had a little bit more firepower under the hood there. So nice attempt by ONI to take the fight to CK. That's not something we see very often. Would have been interesting though if we had run it the way we normally do. If that would have maybe caused some of these players to stick around, but we'll see now what happens. So I think we may run, eventually get a 20v20 if these other two people fill the team. Yep, so we're going to have a couple of CK members switching over to ONI. Now we have ONI on offense on Line Spire. CK, similar to what we saw in round one. Oh, hold on, wait. This guy keeps falling asleep, dude. What's going on here, man? What's going on? All right, round three. Here we go. CK also taking the fight instead of dropping back. CK Dale. I've been there, Dale. Desperate to get back up. Didn't see any help from his teammates. Tried to gamble there with the double punch, but put out of his misery. Nice catapult shot by DC on the CK side. Here comes another shot. Ouch. Creams goes flying. CK now swarming on both battering rams, but you can see that left side continues to make progress within striking range of that catapult. Near shot, excellent shot, taking out 3 attackers. Somehow the battering ram still moves though. So the CK catapult crew once again performing as we've seen before very effectively. Knows the range to hit that battering ram at several different distances. I like that close range shot. Still, despite taking heavy casualties, the momentum on the Mason side still focused on that left side.
Looking like?
Ram. What is? Why can't I see? Hold on. What are the numbers? Dude, that name makes me laugh. It's 20v20, but we got a couple of the CK members now filling the roster. I think some of the ONI people left perhaps a little bit prematurely, but right now, Masons, the ONI sponsored Masons on attack. Nice defensive hold here, despite you can see that ballista claiming the lives of Masons and the Gathians both. Ugh. That is sick. Body's still quivering. Big Daddy Gib now trying to create a little bit of momentum on the battering ram. ONI with some of the reinforcements now. This could be a pretty competitive battle. I think the team's pretty evenly matched with how they've been sorted in the 20v20. But CK with a majority of their starting lineup intact. Still playing excellent defense on both battering rams. Coco and Revenge slowing down the attack on this near side battering ram. I think this other one now is the only active battering ram. CK now consolidating their forces around the battering ram. I don't see anyone on the catapult. In fact, it's aimed the wrong way still. So ONI may be choosing fun over attack strategy here. Just going straight melee. They may need to bring out the firepower here just to soften up the defense a little bit. But still plenty of time for the Masons to advance the battering ram to the gates. We're going to follow some of the action here. Who is, let's see, BLT Delightful. Nice fire pot there, taking out the left side of that defensive line. Maybe only damaging a couple, but forcing them to move. Now trying to take out some of those defenders, rotating back. Fortunately, gets pinned between one of his allies and two defenders. We're going to follow Dog, who has is now mercenarying for ONI. Oh, goes down to Coco. I'm going to follow CK Quintero, who's just with that war axe in the thick of the defensive line. See the CK defenders pushing up to that attack way. Okay, now we're seeing the catapult. Looked as though CK pushing into the attackers so that if that catapult hits, yep, we're going to see friend and foe go down. I think that one may have taken more friends than foes. The second one, though, does take out several defenders. However, neither team fighting on the objective, as the area, the plateau here right above the battering ram is where the line of scrimmage is. Here we can see ONI now rotating over to the battering ram. Chonky Boy, ONI, and Grim Reaper able to bring the ram home. So nice job by the offense. It looked as though they weren't really focused on the objective, but then after thinning out enough of the defenders in that battle above the catapults, that bought them enough space to get some attackers to the objective. Sun God and Dog, you can see with that beetle armor. Sun God. Oof, Sun God somehow staying alive. Dodging the catapult, taking out three other Agathians. Now in a 1v1 with Coco. Lord Touch Me coming in. Sun God just maybe one of the best players at the 1vx game eventually gets taken out by the battering ram. Excellent job, though, by Sun God with that heavy mace. Sometimes your teammates are more deadly than the enemy. That's chivalry, too. Nice fire pot. Takes out Malthazar, who was on that battering ram. Oof. Yeah, that catapult by ONI does not care who dies. CK continuing to throw reinforcements in the space in front of the objective. 5 minutes, though. We're going to see, can that catapult get range? Because right now it is hitting the area in front. There we go. I think that one may have hit the door. Okay, that one not aimed at the door, but may have taken out friend and foe again. So I'm not sure what's happening. It looks as though maybe the catapult's operator had to rotate off because of a fire pot. CK now controlling the space in front of the battering ram. ONI looks like they're grouping up for a push. We're going to see what the catapult team opts to do. Are they going to hit the door finally, or are they going to take out some of the infantry? Looked like it was powered up to take the door, but just decides to instead hit the right side of the gate. So no urgency by that catapult team to take down the objective. ONI with a little bit of momentum here now, controlling the space in front of the catapult. Quintero stands strong. Dies to a fire or stabbed, maybe rather, by MJ Holy Armor. That fire may be preventing ONI from operating the battering ram. Smile Bob doesn't care about fire, neither does Malthazar, who manages to operate the battering ram 2 times, doing a lot of damage to the gate. One more shot by that ram or the catapult is all that's needed. Finally, the catapult finds the gate, manages to take out the last shot. Homelander gets a gratuitous shot on the fleeing Agathians. We've all used that catapult. Sometimes you can get some massive hits as the defense is fleeing on that door. But with a 20v20 and most of these players savvy enough to know that strategy, that catapult is not going to get many free kills on the transition to the town square. CK Dale fighting against teammate, now enemy, frenemy MJ Holy Armor and Malthazar. We're going to follow the action up the middle avenue here. CK now drawing a line in the sand, rotating out beyond the edge of the objective, picking up this right side push. CKRD with a 1v1 with Creams. Creams a dueler, but he's going to have to be careful here as he is quickly in a 2, now 3v1. Cream's doing a good job holding his own. Now gets hit by Quintero, then finished off by OG Boomba or whatever. Nice job. Sun God trying to take the attention off of the objective by some of the defenders. Does fall, though, without any support. Majority of ONI now pushing up the middle. Nice fire pot makes some of the attackers turn around or pivot to the left as they engage another line of defense. That, though, separates the forces, you can see, from the main attacking force. And now CK very successful at thinning out the ranks of the Masons who are entering the objective. So it's 6:30. Nice job. ONI continuing to push up the middle. Looks like the Plague Doctor squad's back, though, for CK. Nice flanking maneuver coming up behind that middle push, engaging and really disrupting that offensive line. Here comes another wave, though, of ONI attackers now looking to create some space in the middle channel here. The Plague Doctors, though, continuing to just really flank from strange angles and continue to disrupt that offensive push. Sun God now finally able to enter the zone, fighting furiously, just overwhelmed by his CK teammates. Chunky Boy and Creams doing their best to create some space. Flutterbug subbing in for CK. It's again with that 20v20. Speedwagon. Haven't seen Speedwagon much in the competitive play. Very formidable player. You can see making quick work with that War Axe alongside Boomba. Smile Bob trying to rally the troops with that horn. Now rotating back into the objective, though, immediately collapsed upon by that defensive line of CK. Got no choice but to fall back, trying to use the length of, I believe it's the poleaxe. Yeah, poleaxe. I think there is a limit to some of the men-at-arms polearm weapons, so some of the alternative longer weapons. ONI with some momentum now. After the 5-minute point, we know, as we've mentioned earlier, we see the transition of the reinforcement waves on the Gathian side to the bridge. And I'm sorry, from the Gathians to the bridge side, they're now entering the town square. Masons continue to control, but we're going to see, can CK push enough of the Masons back off of the objective to change the town square back to their favor. Nice job by Revenge, working with Speedwagon Michael, several others, who now have reestablished control of the town square. With 3 minutes left, ONI going to have to try to get control of the town square before they lose too much of that progress. Must be pretty even, though. You can see that bar not really moving despite being in the Agathian Slayer. Now we're seeing it lower back to the O in town square. Masons trying to get bodies back on the town square, but as the difference increases in the Agathians' favor, you can see that bar now lowering back under 50%. Nice fire pot. See, ONI continues to send attackers into the zone, trying to regain control and build on the momentum of the progress they have so far. Nice push to the ammo box. I thought that might have been enough, but you can see that flag still blue and white as CK manages to keep enough people alive on the town square that the progress continues to move in their favor, down to about 25% as the bar's right around the capture in Capture the Town Square. So ONI with 145 left is going to have to send some people back into the zone. D-Waves. Doing a good job staying alive. Lord Touch Me, Insane Jester, rotating over, trying to take out, it's got to be Sun God. Yep, Sun God with that heavy mace, eventually out of stamina, can't block forever. Surrounded by the CK defenders, goes down. We're going to follow the action here on this left side. ONI with less than a minute really need to push into the zone, but CK just doing an excellent job keeping enough people alive on the objective that it does not look like ONI will be taking the town square, barring a miracle here in the next 10 seconds. Here comes a push into the zone. Masons do control the objective, but with less than 10 seconds left on the map. This is going to be round 3 in the books for CK. Nice job by both teams. CK once again winning on defense on one of the objectives that, as far as Line Spire goes, this is my personal favorite objective to win on defense. Very satisfying to win on the town square. We are going to see if there's going to be a round 4, if that's going to do it here. CK once again showing why they're one of the most dominant clans in the game. Yet we are going to Rudhelm, so maybe we are going to run it back. I kind of like this format too. I mean, in some ways, it's easier to compare the team's performance
Zamboni
when
416.
it's a back-to-back on the same map, but it is a little bit refreshing maybe to see something different than the same map repeated. So we're going to see the teams now play the opposite sides from round 2 in this round 4. ONI will be on the Masons playing defense. Oops, I guess I should get to spectate. Wait, what did I just do? I am spectating. Okay. CK will be on attack. Chunky Boy. Maybe switching classes here. CK Pew. That Warhammer. The initial stage of the attack. Stays alive now, rotating to the siege tower. Let's see who this is. Running ones for ONI. Trying to stay alive, however. CK now in control of the left side siege tower. We're going to see... Yep, we're going to see who's that DC. Now, Lord Touch Me on the left side.
Cheer 56.
Hey, thank you,
Stream
GK.
elements.
Welcome in. Your team, your ex-team rather, is
56 bits pod champ.
is really dominating right now. Appreciate it. Zamboni, I don't know. I don't think the AI ever sang to you, actually, come to think of it. I'm going to have to go check that out. Anyway, apologies. We'll investigate that.
Zamboni 416 said, "No alert yet."
Yeah, that's weird. It should have happened.
Zamboni 416
Yeah.
said, "All good. We'll
I don't
fix
know.
it."
I haven't logged into the dashboard in a minute. I probably need to go check it out. Every once in a while, you gotta accept or pay them money or something. All right, so we're gonna follow the action. I was gonna see what is. So Owen and I doing a good job knocking out that left side catapult. It doesn't look as though the right side is active either. So CK doing it on the ground. Looks as though maybe a couple different players murking it, although they do have Dog and Sun God. So still some strong performers on the ONI side. CK, though, fighting as a unit, just whittling down the defenders and taking advantage of their superior numbers in these small group fights. Not a lot of action here on this right side. We're going to move over to the left. A lot of momentum by CK as they control the space by this right side siege tower. It looks as though maybe Oni holding their own on the left side, but just right now too much of a numerical advantage for CK on this near side siege tower. Time for dancing. Coco getting jiggy with it. Michael engaging Sun God. Sun God trying to disrupt this attack. Target switching. Busting out all of the tech here with that heavy mace, but just too many different CK warriors to worry about. Michael eventually coming in with that battle axe. Rocking that Plague Doctor gear. This Plague Doctor squad for CK has been
Sun God in ONI.
No, I think they needed to round out the teams after round 2. I think I don't know if it's the way they did the servers or maybe some other reason. CK was pretty dominant, so some of the ONI members dropped and some of the CK members switched to keep it somewhat competitive. So I believe Randy and Sun God. I think that's Randy. I don't know if it's Randy or what's his name. Oh my god, I forgot his name. The other dude that was really good. But whoever it is, they're doing their best. You can see ONI finally taking control of this near side siege tower with 5 minutes left. We're going to zoom over to the other side. CK, Flutterbug, and Holy Armor now back on the CK side. Able to get a little bit of momentum going here on this left side siege tower. 4:45, plenty of time left on the clock. I think round 1 we saw the gate reach the siege tower reach the wall at about 2.5 minutes. So similar pace here for CK on offense. Nice 2-on-1 here. Grim Reaper holding his own for a minute. Big Daddy trying to help out against Insane Jester and CK normal, but that Plague Doctor Executioner Axe combo too strong. Whatever mix of troops CK has come up with today, it's been quite effective. Nice mix of Knights and Vanguards with some of these either longer or heavy damage weapons like Heavy Mace, Danax. You can see a number of swords as well. But the Plague Doctor crew has definitely been disrupted as DC takes out friend and foe on that catapult. Unfortunate shot. We're going to see now here. Oh, it looks like maybe the right side is a lot closer as ONI rotates over. We're going to see here, where is the battle? ONI has taken back control of that right side. We're going to take a wide shot here and kind of see what momentum can CK get on this left side here. So ONI just really... Oof. Playing strong defense. I'm going to say I thought all of the defenders avoided that catapult, but another shot by DC takes out Big Daddy Gibb. CK Dale rotating back. ONI continuing to control the space in front of the siege tower. I do believe that right side might be moving, though. We're going to see, can it get to the wall? Coco and a few others. Dante? Oh, man. Dante's. So CK trying it to get some attackers with less than 2 minutes on this right side siege tower. ONI just swarming in the siege tower, taking out the maybe remaining. Oh, the last Agathian tries to stay alive. Some momentum now here on the left side as that right side gets wiped out. This might be enough. We're going to see how many reinforcements come through these, whatever you call them, windows? Dante's for CK. I don't know if he's the only one moving it, though. I don't know. CK may need some more bodies on this side. Looks like they are moving the right side as well. So, yeah. So actually, both siege towers going to hit the wall at almost the exact same time. We're going to see what kind of deployment happens on this right side Flutterbug, Pew, and whoever that is, Insane Jester trying to push through. Good job staying alive. Insane Jester goes down, but Flutterbug, Pew staying alive, taking up a lot of focus from the defense. We're going to see as they fall back and heal. We're going to rotate over. Can they reposition themselves to slow down the CK push on the other side? They are now in control of the second floor of the gatehouse. That is a strategy that's worked for them in the past. And it looks as though right now they continue to have numbers as we see that blue and white fly continue to fall. Chonky Boy doing his best to stay alive, but just overwhelmed by this strong push by CK. Now moving over to the second floor of the other side. Here comes ONI trying to get people and dislodging them. I'm sorry, to dislodge the attackers from the second floor, but just the piecemeal nature of this reinforcement waves for the Mason, just the way it spawns, it's going to be hard for them as we see the bar filling up very, very quickly. Yes, that's going to be all CK needs to retain control of the gatehouse and move on to the next objective. So CK now very, very strong as they move on to the tents. After phase one, it was looking as though ONI was really holding their own. I think they were as far as the kill. We're going to take a look at the kills. Yeah, ONI with only a 70 or so kill disadvantage, but that gatehouse, once CK got a hold of that second floor, that was all she wrote. And ONI just really couldn't get enough troops to establish some sort of control. So excellent strategy by CK. This tent phase, of course, a afterthought, really more of a placeholder. We're going to see what kind of defense can ONI with this 20v20 game. It's going to be much harder to slow both siege towers. Right now, ONI, though, pushing past the siege tower, just taking the fight to the offense, maybe trying to get a few kills to thin out the attacks. Not really focused on the torch carriers, which has now allowed CK to advance to the next objective. CK now has grouped up and are pushing the left side. Nice fire pot by Slyest one. Sliced. So it's like a license plate. I gotta figure it out. Slyest one, but overwhelmed along with Homelander by CK. Umbra takes out Mad K before falling to Speedwagon. Nice push here. ONI doing a good job disrupting the attack. Sun God now going to rotate behind the attack. Nice job by the Masons to slow down the push on this left side ramp. We're going to reposition to the right side where ONI seems to be winning as well. So we're going to see as CK regroups, which side do they push? And will ONI be able to get enough troops to rotate over? It's like a small group. So yeah, the Plague Doctor squad pushing the right side. Finally reinforced by some Guardians and a Halberd player. ONI ready for that attack, though, as they fall on that squad. I'm wondering, though, if they bought some time for a force to push on the other side. It's looking like Immense is leading a squad of Knights on the left side to push the siege ramp. No one on the Ballista, just not enough bodies to go around in this 20v20 game. Both teams focusing primarily on the melee play. So nice job by ONI, just staying grouped up, which is allowing them to win some of these team fights. CK, though, doing a good job rotating with their reinforcement wave to put pressure on the opposite side objective. We saw this on the siege tower phase. You can take a similar approach on the siege ramp. Here come the Plague Doctors grouped up, collapsing on this defense. They came from behind, so another flank maneuver. They're going to need some support from these knights, though. You can see one of the Plague Doctors falls. The other one now has to retreat as the numerical advantage once again in the Masons' favor. So that Plague Doctor squad continuing to do some devastating flanks, but the timing may be a little off compared to the first 3 rounds, as some of the knights aren't exactly there at the same time, which can be difficult because sometimes, you know, you're at the mercy of the respawn timer. It can be difficult to have some of these time maneuvers, which really goes to show when we've seen past matches with some of these clans that have been playing these competitive matches for a while. When they're able to pull off team maneuvers, that's actually pretty impressive, just at the very least because of that timing issue just alone. But there's a lot of factors that come into play with how the respawn wave happens, especially on this map on attack. The reinforcement wave tends to be aligned with whichever siege ramp is farther back. So ONI doing a good job playing defense on both sides. And the right side has advanced a little bit farther, but that should not... I think for the most part, the reinforcement waves are going to be pretty much near both carts. CK now trying to get some momentum under the ballista archway. Making quick work of Umbra. BLT, Delightful, Big Daddy, and CK Quintero working for ONI. Taking some kills out of the offense. Good job by ONI, just staying grouped up. So even though they are behind by about 60 kills, is that right? Yeah. Still doing a good job making those kills count from a strategic point of view. They're fighting on the objectives. CK, though, just been a little bit better all night at some of these group fights. Continue to stay disciplined. We're seeing flashes of brilliance from this ONI team, but just maybe need to continue to develop some chemistry to be able to maintain some of this sustained pressure. You can see what a difference a couple of players can make. CK, though, continues to push both ramps. 3.5 left on the clock. We're going to see where the right side ramp is. So CK slowing down a little bit. They're going to have to group up here and get a little bit of a breakthrough on one of these ramps here fairly soon. Fighting occurring on this marketplace area. Malthazar did a good job with that executioner axe, staying alive, fighting with Dog. Fortunately, that space has to be given up as they're pushed back. Now a little bit of momentum here on the left side. Siege ramp by CK. This is exactly what they needed with 2.5 left to go. You're going to have to create a little bit of pressure here to relieve some pressure on the other side. We'll rotate over as CK now has dedicated quite a bit of offensive firepower here to the right side siege ramp, trying to get it clear of this building. I think once you get it in that home stretch, you can see now, yeah, nice pressure by CK on the right side siege ramp. A little bit of
Cheap
momentum in front of
Sid.
the ramp.
Who's been the MVP?
I don't know. Let's start thinking, people, who you think the MVP is. We'll take a look at the scoreboard here, maybe pick a post-game one. But anyone who's been paying attention, I'd be very curious what your thoughts are on the MVP so far. I'd say we've seen some pretty impressive plays by Sun God, even after he switched to the other team. I have to say there's some pretty good film on his 1vx skills, but that seems like kind of an obvious play. I think everyone knows how good Sun God is, so definitely interested if any of you have your favorite player. I've tried to highlight some of the plays across both teams. CK now with some momentum, less than a minute left. This is exactly what they needed. CK, Michael, and Normal. You know, I think
Zamboni
Michael
416.
might be someone you could
Sid.
make a
MVPs are the
MVP of the
friends
friends we
we
made
made
along. Well played, Zamboni. I think Michael, from what I've seen, every time we've seen Michael, he's been focused on the objective. So, as a lover of objective play, I
Seems
think you
good.
could make a case for Michael,
Zamboni
although
416.
I might be forgetting
Michael, yes.
something, right? Yeah, Zamboni, right? I feel like we've seen some pretty solid objective play. He's in the top 3 as well. So, you know, right now, just off of my old man memory, I'd say Michael. Look here, immediately doing the dirty work, getting on the ballista. We're going to see
Zamboni
Can.
416.
Oops. Yeah, he takes out
We
Malthazar.
love objective here.
Nice shot here. We're going to see now. We love the objective here. That's true. You know, kills are sexy, but objective is what wins championships. Cream's doing his best with that two-handed spear to keep the attackers at bay, but now CK building some momentum in the space outside the objective. Nice job by ONI. Michael, though, devastating the Dame of Dark Marrow with that ballista. Put him on the wall, but you know what?
Extreme Elements.
Whatever it takes to win.
Sid. Check out previous game episodes and Chivalry 2
CK
content
now,
at
oops, collapsing on the objective. Oops, oh my god, excuse my
www.youtube.com/velve tomer 56/feature.
Let me fix this here. All right, we're back. Now CK has taken hold of the gallows. ONI may be trying to push. No, they have no choice but to fall back. CK in firm control of the objective, fighting on the boundary now, keeping ONI from getting back in the courtyard. Who is going to be the heir for ONI? Will it be the mercenary Quintero, or will it be Ikage? We're going to see here who the heir is. Ikage. So CK, the mercenary, passing it to ONI. We've seen this strategy, immediately ditching the two-handed weapon for a shield. See if the heir will pick up another one-handed weapon. Right now, just rocking the sword, which can be devastating. One of the best weapons in the game. Nice banner immediately by What Happened. That is a good spot. I haven't seen much archer play, but it does protect the banner from the vicious damage caused by the siege crossbow to those placeables. What do you call them? So ONI going to try to slow down CK's push on the second level. The air taking a little bit of damage from a fire pot, but that banner should be able to clean up the damage here, as now another fire pot hits the top of the stairs. ONI doing a good job on some of these attackers that seem to be trickling in. So CK is going to have to group up. Looks as though they're once again trying to do that on the upper level. Big Daddy Gib, though, disrupting the attack here, taking a little bit of team damage, but falls back, stays alive. Good job. You need to stay alive on these objectives. Sometimes it's better than trying to eke out another kill. Flutterbug knocked on the staircase, just overwhelmed by the defense. CK now trying to get a push, maybe to alleviate a little bit of pressure. Alleviate a little bit of pressure on that upper level. So pushing now on both sides. This could be what they need. The banner is down. The air, is the air back in the corner? Uh-oh, the air is in trouble outside the boundary zone. He's going to have to get back in the objective. Nice fire pot. Oh, no, the air is in big trouble. Does go down. I don't know if the air was just out of the objective or just suffered so much damage. Great job by CK taking round 4. Impressive performance. We're going to take a look. I don't know if anyone has another thought for MVP, but I feel like I might just give it to Michael. Look at those gaudy numbers. He played objective. He played the siege weapons. That's just my opinion, though. We'll have to take a look at the replay, and people can decide for themselves. Thank you for joining me on this special edition of Sunday Night Showdown. There should be some good matchups here coming up in the next couple of weekends. I'll have to try to make sure I don't mess up the time in the heavyweight battle between EQ and CK. I'm sure they'll run that back. So appreciate everyone for being here. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Don't let Monday get you down. And once again, thank you for joining us on Sunday Night Showdown.
Zamboni 416 said, appreciate the fights.
Yeah, good job by both teams.